What happens when the system that's supposed to protect you betrays you instead? For most people, the answer is silence. You swallow the injustice, you live with the scars, and you move on, if you can. But one woman refused. She wasn't rich. She wasn't powerful. She wasn't supposed to win. The system was designed to break her. Instead, she broke the system, and in doing so, she sparked a movement that changed the way justice could be fought. This is the story of the woman who took on a broken justice system and won. Her name was Angela Torres. Angela grew up in a modest neighborhood in Houston, Texas. She was a single mother, working long hours at a local diner to provide for her 10-year-old son, Mateo. Life wasn't easy, but she managed. One paycheck at a time, one exhausted smile at a time. Like many women of color in America, Angela carried an invisible weight. A lifetime of small injustices. Being overlooked for promotions. Watching neighbors evicted over small debts. Seeing her community policed more harshly than others. But none of it prepared her for what was about to happen. One hot summer night in July 2014, Angela's world was turned upside down. It started with a traffic stop. Angela had just finished her late-night shift. She was tired, her uniform sticky with sweat, her mind already drifting towards sleep. As she drove home, flashing blue and red lights appeared in her rearview mirror. She pulled over, puzzled. "Ma'am, you rolled through a stop sign," the officer said. Angela politely disagreed. But what should have been a routine warning escalated fast. The officer ordered her out of the car. When she asked why, he accused her of resisting. Within minutes, she was handcuffed on the side of the road, her son crying in the back seat. At the station, the charges were inflated. Resisting arrest, obstruction, reckless endangerment. Bail was set higher than she could afford. Angela, a woman who had never been in serious trouble before, found herself behind bars for weeks, separated from her son. Her diner job? Gone. Her bills? Piling up. The system had swallowed her whole. Angela's experience wasn't unique. Every year in America, hundreds of thousands of people are arrested on minor charges, unable to afford bail. Many plead guilty just to get out, even if they're innocent. It's faster, cheaper, and less risky than fighting a system stacked against them. Angela was pressured to do the same. "Take the plea," her court-appointed attorney advised. "You'll get probation, you'll be home in no time." But Angela refused. Why? Because deep down, she knew something was wrong. She hadn't rolled that stop sign. She hadn't resisted. And she wasn't going to let the system label her a criminal for life. It was the first of many battles she would have to fight. One night in her jail cell, Angela met another woman, a grandmother named Miss Rosa, who had been locked up for months on a petty theft charge she insisted she didn't commit. "Baby," Rosa told her, "they want us to believe we got no power, but power is in refusing. Power is in saying no." Those words lit a fire in Angela. When her cousin managed to post bail, Angela came home determined not just to clear her name, but to expose what happened. She filed complaints against the arresting officer. She began researching wrongful arrests. She started showing up at city council meetings, speaking about her case. First, no one listened. She was just another poor woman of color crying foul against the police. But then something changed. A local journalist picked up her story. The article highlighted a disturbing trend. The officer who arrested Angela had a history of misconduct complaints. Dozens, in fact. Yet he was still on the force. Angela wasn't alone anymore. The more she pushed, the harder the system pushed back. Prosecutors doubled down on the charges, threatening years in prison if she lost at trial. Friends warned her to back off. Even family members worried she was making things worse. But Angela kept going. She partnered with a civil rights attorney who saw the bigger picture. Together, they uncovered patterns of false arrests, excessive force, and fabricated charges tied to the same precinct. Angela realized her case wasn't just about her. It was about everyone who had been silenced, everyone who had signed plea deals under duress, everyone who had been crushed by the machinery of justice. Her story became a rallying cry. The courtroom was packed the day Angela's trial began. On one side, prosecutors, the arresting officer, and the weight of the state. On the other, Angela, her lawyer, and a community that had finally started to rally behind her. The prosecution painted her as aggressive and combative. They leaned on stereotypes. They claimed the officer feared for his safety. But then Angela's lawyer did something bold. He introduced dashcam footage that the prosecution had conveniently left out. The footage showed Angela calm, compliant, and the officer escalating without cause. Gasps filled the courtroom. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Verdict: not guilty. Angela had won. For most, that would have been the end. She cleared her name, walked free, and could try to rebuild her life. But Angela wasn't done. She filed a civil lawsuit against the city. This time, she didn't just win her case. She exposed a pattern of misconduct that forced the city to pay millions in settlements to multiple victims. The officer was eventually fired. His record, once hidden, became public. Angela's victory didn't undo the trauma. She had lost her job, spent months away from her son, and endured public humiliation. But she had done something few ever dared. She fought the system on its own turf, and she won. Angela's story inspired others. Community groups formed, demanding bail reform and accountability for police misconduct. Journalists dug deeper into cases previously buried. Local lawmakers proposed measures to require body cameras and make misconduct records public. Angela herself became an advocate, speaking at rallies, mentoring women caught in the justice system, and pushing for systemic change. Her son Mateo, now a teenager, once asked her, "Mom, why didn't you just take the deal?" She smiled and said, "Because if I did, they'd win. And I want you to grow up in a world where justice actually means something." Angela Torres wasn't supposed to win. The justice system wasn't built for people like her to fight back. It was built to pressure, to silence, to crush. But by refusing to break, she proved something extraordinary. The system, no matter how powerful it seems, is not invincible. One woman, armed with truth, determination, and courage, can take it on and win. If Angela's story moved you, don't let it end here. Share this video, subscribe for more untold stories, and join us in shining a light on the hidden truths of justice, resilience, and human courage.